Hi there. I'd like to be wishing you all a very happy new year full of hope and anticipation. And I do wish you all the very best for 2025. But I've zero confidence that the upcoming year will bring much joy for Manchester United Football Club. That's because of one man who sold us a lie. While Jim Ratcliffe is calling the shots, this football club is in deep, deep trouble. Ratcliffe could not be doing a worse job even if he tried. And I'm not calling him sir anymore either, because he's a fraud. He's been such a failure and he's making the Glazers look good in comparison. He lied about his intentions and he's proving he's absolutely no idea what he's doing. He promised us he was going to put the Manchester back into Manchester United. He told us he's a fan who understands our legacy and our history. But clearly he doesn't. He didn't even understand what highly respected journalist Andy Mitten was talking about when he told him supporters want the words football club back on the badge. He says there are far more important issues, but all he's doing is ripping the soul out of our football club, both on and off the pitch. Don't tell me he's doing the right thing by cutting costs when he's penny pinching. Penny pinching by reducing funding to the foundation. Penny pinching by punishing low-paid former players by defunding their charity. Don't tell me he's got the fans' best interests at heart when he's charging 66 quid for kids and seniors to watch a football team that his decisions have reduced to a complete clusterfuck. I've just been speaking to my good friend Gordon Hill over in Seattle, and he says he's disgusted with what Ratcliffe is doing to our football club. As a former player, he says he's especially appalled by what Ratcliffe has done to the Old Boys charity. Have a look at my previous video with Jim Elms to understand why that's such an embarrassment. To put it into context, Marcus Rashford earns more in one day than the club is saving by not funding the AFMUP for a whole year. It's absolutely scandalous. But the problem is Ratcliffe is bringing down the whole football club with his mismanagement. What he's done over the past year is a real mess. He's demonstrating how he's absolutely no idea how to run a football club. His actions have turned a team of FA Cup winners into a confused shambles that are nosediving towards a relegation dogfight. Caught in the middle of this mess is Ruben. Our new coach hasn't been thrown under the bus by the players this time. He's been thrown under the bus by Jim Ratcliffe and his clowns at Ineos. Ineos boast they bring together some of the best minds and talent in elite sport. But that's a complete and utter BS. His right-hand man, Dave Brailsford, is a cycling guru who talks about marginal gains. But what about the cataclysmic collapse we're seeing at Manchester United in the year since he started spinning his mumbo-jumbo? We've seen firsthand that the guys running Ineos are not the best minds in sport. What kind of buffoons sack a manager weeks after giving him a new contract, then bring in a new guy who wants to play a totally different system, but they tell the new guy they're not going to back him in the transfer window. Ineos are just making it up as they go along if they expect Ruben to succeed without backing him in this transfer market. His only other option is to bring more kids into the team. But young players need leaders in the team to show them the way, and we don't have any. Ruben may be good, but he's not a magician. He wanted to stay at Sporting until the end of the season, when he'd at least have a pre-season to work with the players. But Ratcliffe and his goons at Ineos said no. They said it's now or never. Now don't tell me that we'd have lost 6 of the last 9 games if Erik ten Hag was still in charge. Don't tell me we'd have lost 6 of the last 9 games if Ruud van Nistelrooy was still in the hot seat. In Ruud's 4 games in temporary charge, he was unbeaten, winning 3 matches, and he had the players performing with pride and purpose. There was a new confidence and direction. We were finally seeing the benefit of our pre-season work that Ruud was right at the core of over the summer. Personally, I think it was a big mistake to sack Ten Hag after giving him a new contract and spending another £200 million in the summer. But it was an even bigger mistake not to give Ruud until the end of the season after they ditched Ten Hag. Instead of spiralling down the table, I'm confident we would have been pushing for a European place with Ruud at the helm. It was Ruud who fired up Amad Diallo to step up to another level. He even had Casemiro looking rejuvenated alongside Ugarte. I'm pretty certain he would not have given up on Marcus Rashford either. Some fans think Ruben has done the right thing by axing Rashford completely. He was only on the bench against Newcastle because of so many players being unavailable. but he's not played in our last 5 matches. Not only have we now lost 4 in a row, we've not scored a single goal in our last 3 matches. I totally supported leaving Rashford out for a couple of games, but not playing him at all is not helping the team. My guess is that Ratcliffe has told Amorim not to play Rashford because he wants him off the payroll. At 350 grand a week, he's the biggest drain on this football club. And we know that Ratcliffe wants to cut costs. Rashford was always going to be on Ratcliffe's hit list. The problem now is, where do we go from here? Liverpool away on Sunday could be one of the most embarrassing days in our long history. And then it's Arsenal away in the FA Cup. As I said on this channel before Christmas, by the end of the first week in January, Ruben will have the media wolves on his back. He's already feeling the pressure, and he's already talking about falling on his own sword. Ruben says he'd rather be sacked than compromise on his way of making United play. So that means we head into the Liverpool game with 3 at the back. The problem is this formation relies on having top-class wing-backs, and we just don't have those players. We could sacrifice Ahmad, who's better further up the pitch, but Ahmad is not a natural wing-back. Bruno Fernandes will be back after his 1-match ban, but he's not a natural fit for Amorim's formation either, whether that's a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-2-1. Until Ruben changed the way we play, and Arna's stats made him the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. But I don't think it's any coincidence that our goalkeeper and our defence have crumbled at times since Amorim changed the way we play. I hear the argument that short-term pain will be worth it for long-term gain, but this is not a short-term fix. Worst-case scenario, we're sucked into a relegation dogfight. Luckily, we're probably too far clear of the bottom 3 for that to end in disaster this time around. But I do remember the 70s when we thought we were too good to go down under Tommy Docherty. I was on the Stretford end that day when Dennis Law backheeled that winner for Manchester City, and we tumbled into the 2nd division. The Lawman's goal didn't actually relegate us, that's a myth, but that goal was symbolic. And right now, we're only heading in one direction. Maybe Ruben Amorim will pull off a miracle at Anfield. We did win at Manchester City, of course, but that result only covered over the cracks, and we caught City in the middle of their own crisis. What concerns me is the damage that another humiliation by Liverpool will do to a team that is so fragile. When you get into the habit of losing, it gets harder to break the longer it continues. Liverpool are the team United fans love to hate, but there's no avoiding the fact they are performing brilliantly since Arne Slot took over at the start of the season. Right now, I'd say Mo Salah is the best player in the world, and we've just seen how Newcastle ripped United to shreds in the first half on Monday night. Salah must be licking his lips at the thought of terrorising our back 3 at Anfield on Sunday. A year on from Ratcliffe and Ineos taking charge of football operations, I never expected an overnight fix. But I didn't expect Ratcliffe to create such an absolute pig's ear of the job. I'm not saying the Glazers should have sold to Qatar, absolutely not. I will never agree to our football club or any other club being state-owned. I still hope the Premier League will do the right thing and kick Manchester City and their Abu Dhabi owners out of the Premier League. Meantime, I will continue to campaign for our elite clubs to be protected by a German-style fan ownership model. Unless clubs are protected, they will always be at the mercy of owners acting in a way that's not in the best interest of supporters. And I'm not just looking at this from a United viewpoint either. I believe fans of all clubs should be fighting for a fan ownership model. That's the only way to protect our game, especially as footballers, rulers and the billionaires who currently control our elite clubs will ultimately be making decisions about Super Leagues and where our clubs will be playing in the future. It doesn't matter how much money owners have. Ratcliffe is actually worth 10 times more than the Sheikh from Qatar. Having wealthy owners is absolutely no guarantee a football club will be in safe hands. Not now, not ever.